Well, maybe we'll get going. If a few more people wander in, they'll catch up. Thanks for coming today. Our topic today is going to be online security and passwords. I'll be presenting. My name is Tom Kreuzer. First, a little bio about myself. I'm known as the PC guy because I had the license plate, PC guy. I'm the son of John Kreuzer here at Carondelet. John's in back there. I retired about 10 years ago from 3M after working 40 years there in their information technology area. I'm an officer and presenter of the 3M Personal Computing Club for over 48 years. At its peak, we had 1,200 members. And I still present. In fact, I give these same presentations to the PC Club, too. I mentioned I'm thrifty, not cheap. So if there's a low cost or free option as opposed to paying a lot of money, I usually will recommend that to most people. Also, I do here at Carondelet one-on-one free tech help. You can sign up for a 30-minute slot. I usually do the first and the third Mondays, and then Tom Strum here at Carondelet does the second and the fourth Wednesdays from 2:30 to 4:30. If you want help, just call or stop down at the front desk, and they'll sign you up for a slot. The next presentation I'll be giving in April will be on artificial intelligence. And we'll talk in general about how it's advanced in some of the new things. I think I gave a presentation here about 2 years ago on it, but things have changed a lot in those 2 years. So this will be an update on what's happening with artificial intelligence. Then I'll put in a plug with my sister and brother-in-law and my dad. We put on a Fix-It clinic, and tomorrow is the next Fix-It clinic. So if you've got an appliance, a lamp, electronics, small furniture, even a computer question that can be answered in 15 minutes, we'll give our best attempt there to fix it there, and it's all free. This is where I do the plug. So I record this meeting, and the handouts are available, and we used to make them available out on the Carondelet Village website. As of a couple months ago, that website is no longer. Presbyterian Homes has changed and taken over, and so the slides and the presentations are no longer available there. You can get to the handouts and the slides, the recordings and the handouts. If you go out to Wellzesta in the resources concierge, and then learn about help topics, you can get to the website there. The other way to get to the website is on the handout at the very bottom, or the second page of the handout, is the listing of the website, and there's also a QR code. If you have a smartphone or a tablet, you can scan that and it'll take you right there. So if you miss any of the presentations or want to revisit a presentation, a past one, or couldn't make it, you can go out there and see the presentation. Okay, let's get to our main topic, which is passwords are like underwear. You want to change them often. You don't want to share them with your friends. The longer the better. Don't leave them lying around. And you want them to be mysterious. So I know that's a little joking there, but actually everything there is kind of true. Because online security and passwords, security is a combination of safe computing practices and security products to help you. There is no such product that'll totally protect you. It never can do everything there. You need to be careful and you need to be aware, and these tools are there to help you. If you're not part of the solution, you are the problem, and hackers will break into accounts and steal information and credit cards and bank accounts. So you want to be proactive and take very good care of your passwords and the way that you log in. In the last few years, passwords are starting to be replaced by a thing called Passkeys. And I would guess a number of people here, very few, just a show of hands, how many people are currently using a passkey or have heard of it? Okay, that's not unusual. Don't think that you're unusual there. But passkeys are a more secure way, and we'll talk about what they do and how they work. The average person today has 100 accounts and passwords to manage. And I always get this from people saying, I don't have 100 accounts. People do have 100 accounts because if you signed up for anything, or even your Zesta, you've got an account and a password. We have accounts and passwords for everything that we do in our life. And so it's important to manage that. Most of the people I help, and I help a lot of people here at Carondelet and in the 3M Computing Club and friends and family, I give a failing grade, an F, to the way that they manage their passwords. They don't do a good job. Everybody knows that they should be doing a better job, but unfortunately, they don't do a real good job there. So this is a graphic. This is a graphic of the human mind. Our mind knows what we know, so we know that we should have secure passwords are important. We understand the risk of reusing passwords. We're fearful of our passwords being hacked. We consider ourselves informed on password best practices, and so we know all these things. Unfortunately, the backside of our brain is saying, I don't want to change. I don't know what to do. And so passwords are created that are not very secure. They're stored in places that aren't secured. People forget them and can't get into accounts, and they make their life so much harder because they don't know the passwords to get in. And it's not just seniors. It's the worst case is actually millennials for willy-nilly creating new accounts, resetting passwords every time they forget one, and things like that. That's not a way to live there. Okay, so why do you need a password or a passkey manager? In the past, because I've given presentations, like I say, for 50 years on different subjects, in the past I recommended that people would use a password manager. Today I tell people you must be using a password manager. It isn't optional because we've all got so many, and we've got so much of our lives are tied up in accounts. Using other methods, whether it's writing it down in a notebook, using Post-it notes. Now, I work for 3M. I'm glad you're using Post-it notes, but Post-it notes is not a way to manage passwords. Neither is a spreadsheet or a napkin or not writing it down at all. I don't know how many people I run into have no idea that they created an account or what the password was. It just doesn't work. We need something that works. And that thing that works is a password manager. And you want to use a password manager because you don't have to remember each password. Nobody's going to remember 100 passwords, and those passwords should be unique, meaning that they're jumbles of letters and numbers and characters, and you can't remember that. No person can do that. So you absolutely must have a password manager. When you have a password manager, then each of your passwords can be unique, meaning that they're not used by another site or another app. You're not using the same password for your bank as you're using for your Cubs reward or for other sites there. You want them long, in some cases 16 characters, and banks maybe 24 characters of random numbers and letters. They must be strong, meaning they have random letters, numbers, and special characters. Passwords should be generated for you by a password manager. So I run into people and they have to put in a new password or that, and they can't think of a new password, and so they're trying to struggle to figure out a password to use. Well, it shouldn't be anything that anybody would be able to guess. So it should be these random numbers and letters and special characters, but they just do a bad job of creating them. The password manager can do all that for you automatically. The other thing is a good password manager is going to be available on all your devices. So if you have a phone, tablet, laptop, desktop, even if you're on vacation somewhere and you have none of your devices, as long as you know the password to get into your password manager, I can go into, let's say, the hotel computer center, and I can log in and I can get my passwords. Whereas if I had them on Post-it notes next to my computer at home, I couldn't get access to it. They can be available anywhere at any time on any device. Password managers can also help you change and track your passwords. You can also document challenge questions in notes. So challenge questions are things like, what was the name of your dog? What high school did you go to? Who was your favorite teacher? Things like that. Well, if you're using it in a notebook, frequently people don't write that stuff down, but those are important security information that you want to keep with your accounts and passwords. And these password managers let you do that. I'll get people that'll say, well, I don't want all my passwords in a password manager because I feel like that's somebody may steal that and have access to everything. Well, storing your accounts and passwords in a browser or any of these other methods just doesn't work and is actually less secure than using a password manager. So let's talk about some of the features of a password manager. And not all password managers are the same. So some password managers have some of these features. Others have maybe just one or two of these features. They vary from package to package, and there's hundreds of password managers available. We'll talk about which ones I recommend in a little bit, but this is some of the features that if it's important to you, you want to make sure that the password manager that you're going to be using supports that feature. Well, one of them is cost. I mentioned I'm thrifty, I'm not cheap. You can get free versions of password managers. Some of them are limited to the number of devices or the number of passwords that it'll manage for you. So if cost is an issue, you want to make sure what it costs and what it can offer there. Another one is automatic capture, and that automatic capture is as you're going out to a website and the first time you log in or create a new account and password, does it automatically ask you to save that in the password manager so that you don't have to re-enter it. So it can automatically work with your browser and with the operating system to capture your passwords and accounts. Another is automatic replay. So as opposed to capturing, once you've captured that account and password, next time you log in or go to that site and want to log in, does it automatically fill in the account and password for you? So you don't even have to lift a finger or do anything. It's automatically doing this stuff for you. Most of them will also let you, in addition to filling in your accounts and passwords, they'll let you fill web forms in. And that web form can contain things like if you're buying out on a site and it wants your name, address, phone number, it can automatically fill that in for you. Also credit cards, it can automatically fill in credit card information for you. Another feature is to retain a history of your passwords in case you need to get an old password after making a change, or if you want to look and see when was the last time that I changed the password out on my bank. Can it support multiple identities? That can be multiple profiles or accounts. And an example there is if it's a husband and a wife and you have kids, maybe you control all of those accounts and passwords such that whenever you log into a site, it lets you choose which of the, did you want to use your wife's, did you want to use this kid's, did you want to use this, which account and password did you want to use? And myself, I deal with the 3M Personal Computing Club, and I also have a number of email accounts. So I'm frequently switching those, and a good password manager will let you do that stuff all automatically. Another feature is a strength report, where it'll analyze the strength of your password to help you improve them. It can also notify you if your account and password has been exposed in a data breach out on the internet, on the dark web. So it'll tell you if that's there. Another feature that can be important is two-factor authentication, whether it's biometric, SMS, texting-based, Google Authenticator, or something else. Another feature is some of the password managers work with the apps that you have on your phone and on your tablet. That way you don't have to copy and paste passwords and accounts to work with those apps. Another feature is importing, the ability to import passwords that you stored in your browser or a competitor software. So if you're moving from one password manager to another password manager, you usually do what's called an export to save the passwords, and then an import to bring them into the new package that you're going to use. And that's very convenient for the ability to switch from one package to another. And this is that export where you can, where the software can save that, and also it allows you then to back up that data if you so choose. Another feature is secure sharing. That's sharing of passwords, messages, documents, and other things. Another is digital legacy. So you can set it up so that if you get hit by a bus or suddenly die, in the event that you're no longer around, you want your friends and family or your family or the person that is going to be the executor of that access to your accounts, and these packages can make it easy to ease that transition. Another feature is secure online file storage. You can save and share files or documents, things like a will, a passport, other important documents that you want to make sure nobody else sees, but yet you've got one place where you can store it and share it with people. Okay. Now that we've talked about some of the features, this is the package that I recommend, and what I use is a package called Bitwarden. Bitwarden is they have a free version, and then they have a paid level if you want additional features. I recommend the free version of Bitwarden. You can store an unlimited number of passwords, and you can sync them across all of your devices. Bitwarden offers native apps and software for Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, and iOS. It has extensions, browser extensions for Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Opera, and Safari. It also works with Passkeys. So Passkeys is the new thing replacing passwords. It works very well with that. Prior to using Bitwarden, I was using a password program called LastPass, and LastPass had a free version, and then they decided to start charging for it if you wanted to use it on multiple devices. Like if you wanted it on your phone and your laptop, you had to buy a certain level there. And I took LastPass and I was able to export my passwords out of LastPass, import them into Bitwarden, and in less than 2 minutes I was up and running in this new password manager there. And this also works for things like if you have currently have passwords stored in your browser, Bitwarden can bring in some of the passwords in your browser, or if you're upgrading from Apple passwords and you want to use Bitwarden, Apple passwords, you can export all your passwords and import them into Bitwarden. Bitwarden does have a premium version that they charge $10 a year for. That provides 1 gigabyte of encrypted file storage. So if that's file storage of a will and passports and other things is important, then you may want to pay that. It also offers 2-step login, Vault Health reports, and emergency access if you need those features. If you just have Apple devices, it's okay to use Apple Password. So if you have an iPhone and an iPad or an iMac tablet, it's okay to use Apple Password. It's just that Apple Password doesn't have all those features that I talked about. Bitwarden has about twice as many features and is cheaper and actually more flexible. Plus it works on all devices, not just Apple devices. Apple Passwords only works on Apple devices there. And also it's a case of, I'll have people that'll say that they want to use Apple Passwords, and you have to be using the current version of the operating system for Apple to be able to use these things too. Okay, let's do a little demo. 1 second here, let me do this. So what I'm going to do for the demo here is I'm going to open up a browser. So let me do this. So I've opened up a browser, and prior to this, I have installed Bitwarden on this browser. And I'm using a Chrome browser, but again, it's supported by almost every browser there. It's currently locked. You probably can't see the little icon up here, but it got a little padlock. Bitwarden is locked. So in order to unlock it, I have to put in my master password here. And the account that I'm going to be using is just a demo account that I'm using for this presentation. So I'm not going to be showing you my actual account. And so you don't have to write down my passwords or credit card numbers because they're all made up and not valid numbers there. They're just for the demo there. And for this demo, I've just got a few accounts out here. And in my actual Bitwarden, I believe I'm up to 300 and some accounts and passwords. And the average person, like I say, is usually 100 or more there. Okay, let's see. And that's because once you start using a password manager, it should become your place to store everything, your friends and family accounts that you share. And you'll see that you can put in all kinds of other information. Like if you have a Wi-Fi password for your apartment, what's your Wi-Fi password? Most people don't know. Well, this is a place where you can store that and make it available. So it becomes the one place to store all this information. So let me unlock it here. And let me Okay, so I've unlocked it here. This is inside of Chrome, and you can see it up here. Now the lock has gone away there, and the package itself has a number of features, and we'll talk about the Vault last a little bit. But it has this generator. So if I want to generate a new username. And username, a lot of people just use their email address, but actually you want to use different usernames for every account that you have if the site that you're going out to supports it. That way when there is a data breach, your accounts along with your passwords aren't available to other sites and other things. If you use the same username and the same password, your hacker is going to have a field day. But if I wanted to generate a password, you can see these are the types of password that a password generator is going to generate. You're not going to remember this, and certainly you don't want to be able to have to write it down and type it in each time you use it. So you have to be using a password manager to kind of enter this stuff in, and when you're creating a new password, you can tell it, I want upper and lowercase, I want numbers. If it doesn't support special characters, you'll see here it creates a version that doesn't have that. So the generator is what you want to use to generate all new passwords for all of your accounts so that they are long, strong, and unique. Okay, this other function down here is a send, and you don't want to, let's say you wanted to send some information to somebody. Either it's a password that you have or your social security number. You should never put that in a text message or in an email, because most of those are unencrypted and bad people can see what you're sending to somebody else. So this is a function that's built in to keep this secure so that only you and the person getting it have access to the information there. Okay, let's see here. Okay, settings. There's all kinds of settings, literally probably 100 different settings. You can unlock it with biometrics. Biometrics are things like if your face or your fingerprint or a gesture. So if you use those features on your phone or tablet, those can be set up to unlock Bitwarden also. And then there's features for timeout and to clear, just all kinds of information that can be changed in the settings. And I'll mention some of those a little bit later there. Let's see. So let's go back to the vault. And in the vault, it has things. This is where your information is stored. So I can enter in credit cards here. And as an example, this is a test Visa card that I put in. It has the number, the expiration date, the security code. I can put in additional information like the credit limit in here. And if you want to write down the credit card number, it's 12340001122. You can charge anything you want there. So this test card can be used. I can use this to pay or use my credit card on a number of sites by having it autofill in the credit card. And you can have any number of credit cards registered in here. You can also have any number of identities, and these identities are things like your name, your address, your phone number, even social security number, and other pieces of information that you have to enter into various websites when you're placing orders or setting up accounts. You have to put in information. Well, this is where you can put it in once into this password manager. It can automatically fill it into these other sites when you start using these other sites and services there. So those are the identities. The main thing when you do create or put an account and a password out here, this is an example here to log into Starbucks. It's got a username in here. It's got a password. This is a password that's in here. And then there's pieces of information. If you have challenge questions, like what's your first car? Well, you can put that in here, and you can see this is another point or tip I'll mention later. Never put real information in here. So my first car is not a phone, but I'm not going to put my first car because somebody may know what my first car is or find it out on social media somewhere. So you want to put in false information, but you have to document it somewhere, because if you ever do lose your password or have to get into your account, you're going to need this information, and you can store it in here. The other thing with some of this, let's go here. So there's other fields too that are out here that you can add or check there. It'll also check to see if your password has been used before in a data breach. So it's been exposed in a data breach. So that makes it real secure for using there too. Okay, so that's the password manager. You can do stuff there. Once you've loaded your accounts and passwords and things like that in there, it can then automate getting into the site. So let's go out for this demo. Let's go out to Starbucks here. And you can see I go out to the Starbucks site, and I didn't have to lift a finger. It recognized that it was now on the Starbucks site. It recognized I had an entry in my password manager, and it automatically filled in the name and the password. And this is a long, strong, and unique password. This is an actual password to get in. So let me sign in here. And now I'm signed into the Starbucks website. So that's the beauty of a password manager. I didn't have to look in a notebook. I didn't have to ruffle through Post-it notes. I didn't have to scratch my head and say, I don't remember what the password was to get into Starbucks. Last time I used it was 6 months ago. I don't remember. Password manager is handling all that, automatically filling things in and populating it, and bing, bang, boom, I'm now into that account there. Okay, let's see. And the other, so I have these bookmarks up here to get me to different sites. If I didn't have these bookmarks, let's log off of Starbucks here. So now we're logged off. I'm going to open up a new tab here. If I wanted to get to Starbucks, another way for me to get to Starbucks is I can actually go up to my password manager. I can go here and I can see Starbucks, and it's a case here. You'll see there's an option to launch the website for Starbucks. So if I click on that, I guess that one they changed. This used to be, I hadn't used this in a while there. So let's go back here. I guess Starbucks had changed their website from when that was. But I can go here to the Starbucks, I can click on sign in, and there you can see it automatically filled in my account and password. And so with one click, I'm now into the Starbucks site again. Yeah, that's okay. Let's go back to the menu here. And now I'm logged into the Starbucks website. So the password manager can make it easy. You don't have to be looking for notebooks, looking at Post-its, all the hassle that may go along with that. And again, this works on my phone, tablet. It works on an Apple computer. It works on a Windows computer. It works on a Linux computer. Works on any device. Anywhere, at any time there. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation here. Okay, we saw that there are a number of settings within Bitwarden. So if you do use Bitwarden, these are just some settings that I recommend changing. And in the account security, you can set the vault timeout to 30 minutes, or if you want it less, 5 minutes, or that, you can do that. But there's options there. And then to unlock it with biometrics, with your face or with a finger, you can turn that on. But you have to have a device that supports it. So your smartphone or your laptop or your tablet has to support the biometrics. Then you want to make sure you turn on that autofill so that when you go out to the websites, it automatically fills in the information. And then another setting I recommend is set it for 5 minutes for the clipboard. So Some sites it won't automatically fill because their prompts for the account and the password are strange. They don't use good terminology, so the password manager doesn't know what it's asking for. So in some cases, you do have to copy the password into the clipboard, go back into the program, and then paste it in. And that's where it uses the clipboard. And you don't want the stuff to stay on the clipboard forever. So this clears out the clipboard. So if you're using a public computer or just even your own, you don't want it staying in the clipboard for somebody else to potentially see it. Okay, let's talk about passkeys. A passkey is a way to sign in that works without passwords. So we talked about all the hassles with passwords. Unfortunately, a number of sites today currently don't support passkeys, so we do have to live with passwords and gradually convert over to passkeys. Passkeys can use a biometric, a face ID, a fingerprint, or a gesture, or a PIN passcode to set up security on your device. Passkeys is a standard that is promoted by Google, Apple, and Microsoft and the World Wide Web Consortium. Used to be that Apple would go their own way, doing their own thing, trying to do security, and the European Union said, no, Apple, you aren't doing that. We want an industry standard so that people on the different platforms can be as secure as possible, and we don't want you creating your own standard. So this is a universal standard there. A passkey consists of two cryptographic keys, and that's not important. A public key that is stored on the online service or app, and a private key that's stored on a device, such as a smartphone, tablet, or computer. It's a little bit like a safety deposit box with two keys. One key is the bank has it, and one key you have it. Well, the bank can't open your safety deposit box. It has to be the combination of the two to get into the box. So if something happens at the bank and somebody breaks into the bank, they only have one key. They can't get at the safety deposit boxes. And that's kind of the way passkeys work. When there are data breaches, it doesn't matter the information that was stolen up on the server in the data breach doesn't let them into the account because they don't have the other half, which is on the personal device of the person. So this is what this means. When there is a data breach and a hacker gets their hands on a website's public keys, the user account is still safe and locked because the hacker doesn't have access to the private key on the user's device. And passkeys can't be guessed. You don't have to ever change passkeys like you do passwords, because it isn't just a combination of letters and numbers. It can never be guessed, and so you don't have to change it. Also, the private key is tied to a specific website or app that created it. So hackers can't trick you into entering a passkey on a fake phishing site. So if you get an email that says, I'm U.S. Bank, log into our website, there's trouble with your account, passkeys won't work on that site that the scammer set up because it's not the original site, and so it's not valid. Let's take a quick look at a video. This is a 1-minute video that explains passkeys a little bit.
Since the beginning,
passwords have always been a protected gateway to the things you cherish and your online account security. But they're frustrating to create, hard to remember, and are easily hacked. In pursuit of this safe and secure passwords feature, Google, alongside the FIDO Alliance, is rolling out passkeys to simplify signing across the web. Passkeys offer the strongest security with the convenience of unlocking your device. So signing in is as easy as glancing at your phone or scanning your fingerprint. And because they use cutting-edge cryptography to create a key that is unique between you and a specific app or website, they can't be stolen or phished by hackers the way that passwords can. Google is committed to making the internet safe for everyone, and passkeys are the simplest and most secure way to sign in across all your devices and platforms. Since the beginning, passwords
Okay. Oh, so passkeys can also help you get around the issue of having to synchronize your password between multiple devices. Say you normally log into your Google account using your smartphone, but you want to log in using a laptop. Could be any laptop. That's no problem, even if the passkey isn't synchronized to the other laptop, as long as the smartphone is within Bluetooth range of the laptop and the user approves the login. What's even better is that the passkey isn't transferred between the smartphone and the laptop, but after confirming the login, the user is going to get a prompt asking if they want to create a brand new passkey for this new laptop or device connecting. No biometric information leaves your device. Instead, it's used to unlock the passkey on the device. To use passkeys, you do have to be using usually the most current version of Windows, the Mac OS, Chrome browser, iOS, Android. You want to be using that, and also the most current versions of the browsers, Chrome, Safari, and Edge. So let's talk a little bit more. We're a long way from passwords being dead. So passwords, we're going to still have to put up with them for a while, because some websites and some services are never going to change there or don't have the money to implement passkeys. But most of the banks, there's thousands and thousands of sites, Amazon, eBay, Google, Microsoft, Apple, all of them support passkeys. So there's thousands and thousands of sites that support passkeys. Both Bitwarden and Apple Password support passkeys and the syncing between devices. So that's the advantage of a password manager, again, is that it can help you work with your keys there. So let's do a little demo. Let me go here. Okay. Let me go back here. So for this demo, I'm in Google Mail, and I'm currently logged in, but I'm going to log out of Google Mail here, and so I'm going to sign out. Now I've signed out of Google Mail. Now if I want to sign in to Google Mail, I click here to sign in. And it says we're going to verify that it's you, because it's already identified I have a passkey. So there's a ton of things going on in the background between your password manager, between the operating system, between the browser, all that stuff. You don't have to worry about it. It's just gone on here. And so this is saying, oh, we noticed that you have a passkey in Bitwarden, and do you want to use this one to log in? And I'll say, yes, I want to use that one. Didn't have to put in an account, didn't have to put in a password. I'm now connected into Google, and in this case, Google Mail there, Gmail, and so that's how easy it is to use a passkey. None of this remembering, none of this copying and pasting, none of saying I forgot my password and I have to reset it and hope that you can reset it or things like that. No, if you have a passkey, it will immediately connect and establish that you are who you say that you are there. So that's how easy it is to use passkeys once you decide to start using it. So let's go back. Okay, what are some other tips to keep you safe with passwords? Never, 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 never. I can't stress enough, reuse passwords between sites and accounts. Let a password manager generate a unique, long, and strong password. So you must be using a password manager, and you want to be using the automatic generation and change them. Change your passwords often. So even if you have these long passwords, you want to be changing them, especially for your financial institutions, banks, and your email at least once a year there. Use two-factor authentication, which usually sends a text code or an email, or use an authenticator app if they don't support Passkeys, but you should be using Passkeys if they're available. Act immediately when you're notified of a data breach and change that password. So if you get an email from Best Buy that they've been involved in a data breach, you want to immediately change your password. Don't continue to use the old password because, yes, you may not be hacked, or a hacker may not get in, try and use your account in the next month, in the next 6 months, even in the next year. It might be years down the road that somebody will use that password and attempt to take over your account. There's also some resources. These are a couple of sites where you can check to see whether your password or accounts have been involved in a data breach. So these are two popular sites where you can check. A few years ago, we had the National Public Data, NPD, hack. And what was that? That was close to 180 million U.S. citizens with their Social Security numbers were breached. So your Social Security number is out on the dark web for almost everyone here. Mine's out there, and you can check and see if yours is out there. But again, most of the people are out there. As far as total number of data breaches, and accounts that have been involved and passwords that have been involved, there's over 10 billion accounts that have been breached and are for sale out on the dark web. So we all have to protect ourselves, and that's where password managers and the Passkeys come in. You can also use services like credit monitoring to alert you of specific activity in your finances and that, so you can sign up for that. Those usually cost money. Another thing I always tell people you should be doing, backing up your data, backing up your data, backing up your data. So if you are hit with a ransomware attack, you have your data backed up. You can say, I'm not paying you a dime, unlike the city of St. Paul, which is still trying to recover from the hackers that did a ransomware attack on their site and cost us taxpayers probably $3 million or more. You don't want to be in that situation. Never download software files from questionable sites or links outside of the Google Play or the Apple App Store. Some people will click on an email that they got, or they'll go out to a site and it'll say, oh, here's this brand new game or something exciting. Click on here to install it. No, you never want to do that. That's a good way to compromise your machine there. Install and keep up-to-date antivirus software. For Windows 11, Microsoft Antivirus is fine. On Android devices, there are a couple of different packages. I don't necessarily recommend those on an Android device, but if you want, you can install it. They will drain your battery faster and use some of your CPU. Some more tips. Be wary of games or peer-to-peer clients or any download claiming to be free versions of expensive software. Some people will go out there looking for a free version of Microsoft Word. There's hundreds of websites out there that'll say, oh, here's a free version. Click on this, download and install it. Well, they're installing malicious software. Phishing is where hackers try and get you to click on a site claiming to be like your bank, U.S. bank, and they're trying to get confidential information from you, whether it's your credit card, Social Security, a PIN. Is Fast as these sites are shut down, new ones are created. It's estimated that 1.4 million websites are created every month to trick people. So we all have to be careful. Be suspicious of any email that asks for sensitive information, even if the sender seems to be familiar. Call a phone number or another source from an old bill or that to verify the message or link if there is any question. Password managers, the beauty of a password manager, it'll only autofill on authorized URLs and websites and not on fake or phishing sites. So that's another major advantage of using a password manager. If you use a public PC, make sure and log off when you're finished and close the browser completely. For account challenge questions, I mentioned that a little bit earlier. Put in false information. So when it asks for things like your birthday or a sport or a teacher or a city that you grew up on, put in fake information. Document that fake information in your password manager, but now no hacker is ever going to be able to guess. If it's asking for your first car and you put in frog, nobody's ever going to be able to guess that, or go out to your Facebook and figure out that you had a frog as your car. This I mentioned because a lot of people do use Facebook. When you friend or like somebody, you're giving them permission to almost all your personal information that you put in on Facebook. I don't recommend that. There's ways to lock it down or put false information to hide your personal information. I mentioned here, add an entry in Bitwarden itself. So if you forget your password, you can look it up using your biometrics on your phone. You can also store things like I mentioned, Wi-Fi passwords, passwords for your spouse, passwords for collecting any sensitive information you can add and store there. For home wireless security, I mentioned past meetings where I talked about that. If you're going to be using the Apple passwords, you want to make sure that you've enabled the Apple iCloud keychain. That just means that you can use these passwords and passkeys on multiple devices, and it syncs them back and forth there. There's some additional links if you want some more information. And then I got a kick out of this little graphic here. Here's poor Kermit the Frog there on the phone, gets a telephone call, and the hacker says, I have all your passwords. And Kermit says to him, oh my God, thank you. What are they? So don't be like Kermit there and need the help there. So the next steps to save yourself. Number one, use a password manager. Number two, use passkeys. That's as simple as it can be. Okay, any questions or comments? Covered a lot of stuff in a hurry there, but hopefully you got the message that password managers can be a lifesaver and that passkeys are valuable, and you should start to use those as soon as you can there. And password managers can make it a lot easier to use there. Yes?
So, a public PC is like at the airport or the movie store?
A public what?
Oh, public PC.
Yeah.
Is that like you're at the, where are they? The library.
The library has PCs. Sometimes when you go to a hotel, they may have a business center or that and have a computer in there. Here at Carondelet, if you went down to the library downstairs, they have a couple of Chrome machines down there. You can use password managers on those. You can use password managers on any machine, even if you don't own it. Or if you have a phone, some people will pull up their password manager on the phone and use that to get in on these other machines too. So there's different ways to utilize your password manager to be able to get in and do things there.
And what does it mean about the browser to take your information?
I didn't quite get that. What about the browser?
Well, after you're done using a public computer, you want to make sure you keep your password.
Yeah, after you use any kind of public computer, usually you want to close the browser because browsers will maintain connection. So in the demo, I logged into the Starbucks website. As soon as I'm done, let's say instead of Starbucks, that was my bank, a U.S. bank. As soon as I was done doing what I wanted to on U.S. Bank, you want to make sure you log off, because if you just close the browser or close that window and leave the browser open, the next person getting onto that computer could go right into your U.S. Bank account. So you want to make sure you log off, and usually that also means closing the browser and that too. Yes?
So if these passkeys or words are so cryptic and unknown, why do we have to keep changing them? You said we have to keep changing our passwords.
Good question. Yeah, and I'll repeat it for the people on TV or or on the recording. Why do we have to keep changing the passwords if they are long, strong, and unique? The reason is the data breaches. So the data breaches, I mentioned there that if I go out, I mentioned a couple of sites where you can check and see if your data has been exposed. I guarantee you 100% of the people in here, you've been involved in a data breach, whether it's from your doctor, whether it's from your bank, whether it's from the state of Minnesota has been involved in data breaches. So your information has been stolen. Usually as part of that, and maybe passwords that were stolen, and those passwords, if you continue to use the same one that was used in the data breach, a year from now, 2 years from now, somebody could use that old password and get in. Whereas if you changed it, now all of a sudden that breached password that the hacker has will no longer get them into the account.
But the password manager change it for you.
You can use the password manager to help you change it. And some sites, it'll automatically let you change it. In other sites, what you have to do is you have to go out. Let's say it's U.S. Bank. You have to go out to U.S. Bank. You go to your account, and then within your account, there's an option that says change password. You click on the change password. You can generate a new account in the password. Generate a new password in the password manager, and then change it there.
You couldn't get two simultaneous because you did it through the bank and then through your password manager.
The password manager, you want the password manager to have your most current. Now it also keeps track of when you changed it so that you can look at the history, and I could look at my U.S. Bank account and see, oh, I haven't changed it in 2 years or 5 years or as much time there. So well, you want to be protected, and like I say, just because your bank hasn't been involved in a data breach doesn't mean that the password that you used on there is still safe. So the fact that if you do go out there, let's say once a year or that, and change it, and you don't have to change it on all, you can see like that Starbucks account. Well, I'm not too concerned if somebody breaks into that Starbucks account, whereas I'm very concerned if it was my U.S. Bank account or my Google email password. So there are certain accounts that you want to be extra secure with. You're welcome. Yes.
Well, I'm trying to understand the passkey. Is that the same as when you have to put in an ID code like
Microsoft now, in order to even get into my laptop, it automatically said, okay, make up a PIN, and that's what I PIN.
Yeah.
So I do, I use that. Is that the passkey?
No. I'll repeat the question. Is the pass code that some sites want you to put in, or Microsoft, when you turn on your machine, wants you to put in, is that a pass key? No. A pass code is a password. Frequently it's... Yeah, and in some cases, some people just use numbers, telephone number, a street address. I can guess most people's passkeys with a few tries, so they aren't really secure. Microsoft requires that in setting up, but that's not a passkey. A passkey is when you're going out to like your bank or you're going out to Google, and that's where part of it is stored up there. Part of it is stored down here. If there is a data breach, or if somebody's looking over your shoulder when you're putting in a PIN for your credit card or things like that, people can steal that. Whereas passkeys are nothing that, it's not a series of numbers and letters. It's not, it isn't a code per se. It's a key. Like a safety deposit box, you've got one here, the two have to match, and if you go out to the website for your bank or for Google or for Amazon, you go to your account and security and you click on it and it'll create a passkey for you. There's no cost, and it's if you have a password manager, then the password manager is automatically going to say, I see that you created a new passkey. I'll manage that for you, and let's decide on a name and let's decide where to put it. So
I made a list of all of my password places in my 875. So do I have to go to each one of those and do this? How do I set it up? I have pretty much.
the passkeys, you probably all ran into it over the last couple of years when you were logging into Google or you're logging into your bank. Your bank was kind of hitting you over the head saying, set up a passkey, set up a passkey. And because all of these places want you to use passkeys if they support it, and most of them support it. Most people just disregarded it or said, no, I don't want to be bothered with it. And so it doesn't keep popping up all the time saying, do you want to create a passkey? But if you go out to your account, you'll see an option in there to create a passkey and then start using the passkey to log in. Yes, and the password manager, the beauty of that is, and we won't get into the mechanics, but the password manager can let me use this passkey on my phone and on my tablet and on my laptop. So it's a way of synchronizing it. It's a way of making sure that you're safe and secure, and that you can easily log in. Because for the demo there, where I logged out of Google Gmail, and then logged back in, I logged back in a matter of a second or two. You know, that's all it took, and I didn't have to type in anything, and the password manager didn't have to look up a random series of numbers or that. It just said, is there a passkey for this Google account? Yes, there is. Do you want to use that one? Yes. And I'm in, and I'm safe. Okay? Other questions?
So PIN is not part of this process.
No, a PIN is usually 4, 7 digits, numbers. Some people will use characters in their PINs or codes, passcodes, but passkeys are completely different there. And what I'd recommend there is, try it on a site there. unfortunately, you can create these pass keys. You're still going to have a password for some of these sites there. So it doesn't get rid of it, because if you lose your pass keys, you still have to have another way of getting in. But it makes your account so much more secure. And if there are these data breaches, the bad guys aren't going to get a password that they can use to get in. They need those two parts. They need the part up at the server, and they need the part that you have down here. Well, it's harder for them to get the stuff down here. Okay. Other questions, comments? And you know, you can always, if you want some more information too, you can always Google it a little bit, or if you don't know how to change it on your particular bank or financial institution, just Google your bank and financial institution and say, Wells Fargo, how to create a passkey, and it'll say, go to this option and in here, and you know, every site has a different name or menu that you go down. But probably 99% of the banks and 99% of the financial institutions support passkeys, and Amazon and eBay and just thousands of places now support passkeys.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you.
So if I go to bitwarden.com, that's the next step?
Right. You go out to bitwarden.com, and you can create an account, free to create an account. Then you can download, there's apps if you have a smartphone, there's apps if you're using Chrome, there's plugins, there's also individual software too. I don't tend to use it, but like in Windows here, there's a piece of software, and this brings it up here, and I can get at all my accounts and that through here. So that's outside of a browser or that. So there's all these different pieces of software depending on the device that you have and what you're doing. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.